section is 7.4, states of matter. So this should be review from previous science classes that you've taken probably in middle school or junior high. So states of matter can be classified into 4 different categories. So we have solids, liquids, gases, and plasma. So solids are going to have a definite shape and volume. Okay, they are the most orderly and they actually have the lowest kinetic energy. So the particles that make up the solid are just going to vibrate in place. So you see they're the most orderly. Okay, they're structured out very uniformly, and basically the particles are just going to vibrate next to each other. They're not going to move all about. Okay, the next one is liquids. They have a definite volume but not shape. Okay, so basically they're going to take on the shape of its container that's holding that liquid. So the particles are actually going to flow and move around each other. So this has a slightly more kinetic energy than solids. So here we have liquids. It's not as uniformly shaped, and these particles can actually flow along each other. It's going to take up whatever shape the shape of the vessel is. Okay, the next one is gases. It has no definite shape or volume in this case, and it's actually going to fill its container. Okay, so here it's going to have even less organization. They're going to be able to move around and bounce and flow around easily, and they actually move around very, very quickly, okay, so compared to a liquid. So they're going to be bouncing around. It's increasing in energy as we go. Now plasma, happens at very extreme high temperatures. Okay, so naturally plasma occurs in like the stars and our sun. And basically what happens is at these very high temperatures, the atoms lose their electrons, and we're going to kind of talk more about the atom in later chapters. But basically it turns into these positive and negative charges that are moving around very, very rapidly. And this is the highest amount of kinetic energy here. Okay, so they're moving around even faster than the gas particles. So states of matter is a reversible physical change, and I talked about that a little bit in the last section. Okay, so if I have water, liquid water, and I were to freeze it, it would become a solid. It would still be H2O, and then I could melt that ice cube to make it back into liquid water, okay? And it would be still H2O even though it's gone through these changes of state. So it is just a physical change that is reversible. An important thing to note is that temperature actually does not change during phase changes, okay? So here is the heat that's being applied and the temperature. Okay, so as we add heat, the temperature is going to increase in the solid until it gets to a point where it starts to melt. So as it's melting, the amount of heat that we put in, it's going to kind of remain or plateau at this temperature until it all becomes a liquid. So then as we apply heat to the liquid, it's going to heat up until it starts to vaporize and become a gas, and then it's going to kind of level out at that temperature until it starts to rise again. So for like water, it's going to start melting at 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, and then it's going to start vaporizing at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, and then same thing for condensing and freezing, going back down the other way.